Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes once seemed like Hollywood's ideal power couple.
This isn't rumor. It's on the record, confirmed through public documents. Here's the real story, based on verified reporting rather than speculation. For most of her life, she was one of the most photographed children on the planet. Now 20 years old and a student at Carnegie Mellon University, Suri Cruise, daughter of Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes, has quietly done something that says more about who she wants to be than any red carpet appearance ever could. She has legally dropped her father's famous surname. This isn't rumor. It's on the record, confirmed through public documents. What follows is the fullest picture available from verified reporting, the courtship that made Cruise and Holmes global tabloid fixtures, the divorce that reshaped Suri's childhood, the decade of near-total public silence between father and daughter, and the choice she's now made as a legal adult. Where reporting relies on anonymous sources or unconfirmed claims, that's flagged clearly rather than presented as settled fact. Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes met in 2004, not long after Holmes, best known at the time for playing Joey Potter on Dawson's Creek, ended an engagement to actor Chris Klein. The relationship moved fast and drew intense media attention almost immediately, culminating in Cruise's now famous appearance on The Oprah Winfrey Show in 2005, during which he jumped on Oprah's couch while declaring his feelings for Holmes. The moment became one of the most parodied moments in talk show history, and by most accounts, marked the point where the relationship became a full-blown media phenomenon. Cruise proposed at the Eiffel Tower later that year, presenting Holmes with a yellow diamond ring. Their engagement, by widely reported accounts, followed only a matter of weeks after they began seeing each other, an unusually fast timeline that added to the media frenzy surrounding the relationship. Holmes, who was raised Catholic, was also reported at the time to have begun exploring Scientology, the religious movement to which Cruise has been closely tied since the 1980s, when he was introduced to it by his first wife, actress Mimi Rogers. The couple married in November 2006 at a 15th-century castle outside Rome, a wedding reported to have cost several $1 million and drawn a guest list stacked with Hollywood names. By then, their daughter Suri had already been born on April 18, 2006, several months before the wedding itself. Holmes's own family response to the relationship was, by multiple accounts, more complicated than the public romance suggested. Her parents were reported to be uneasy about her fast-moving relationship with Cruise and his deep involvement in Scientology. Given their own Catholic background, though they ultimately attended the wedding, with her father, attorney Marty Holmes, reportedly speaking at the rehearsal dinner. Marty Holmes would later play a significant role in his daughter's life again, having negotiated a prenuptial agreement before the marriage that helped Katie finalize her eventual divorce from Cruise in less than 2 weeks once she filed. Cruise and Holmes were married for roughly 6 years. In June 2012, Holmes filed for divorce in New York. At the time, her attorney Jonathan Wolfe said in a statement that the matter was personal and private, and that Holmes's primary concern was, as it had always been, her daughter's best interest. Cruise's representative said he was deeply saddened by the filing. Holmes sought and was granted primary custody of Suri, then 6 years old. Reporting at the time noted the couple had a prenuptial agreement, and the divorce itself was finalized quickly, within about 2 weeks of the filing. As part of the settlement, Cruise agreed to pay child support, widely reported at $400,000 a year, until Suri turned 18, along with covering other expenses for her. Cruise has never confirmed exactly why the marriage ended. In a 2013 deposition connected to a defamation lawsuit he filed against a tabloid, he pushed back directly on the suggestion that he had abandoned Suri, rejecting the framing that their relationship required protection from anything. Holmes, for her part, has been reported to have cited concerns about her daughter's exposure to the Church of Scientology, of which Cruise is a prominent longtime member, as a factor in the split, though neither she nor Cruise has ever laid out the full picture publicly. Suri is Cruise's only biological child. He also has 2 adopted children, Isabella, Bella, and Connor, from his earlier marriage to Nicole Kidman, which ended in divorce in 2001. Unlike Suri, both Isabella and Connor grew up within Scientology and remain affiliated with the church as adults. Isabella has spoken publicly, including in church-produced materials, about her involvement, while Connor has kept a lower public profile, reportedly living in the Clearwater, Florida area home to a major Scientology community, and working as a DJ. Kidman, notably, is not a Scientologist and has described her relationship with Isabella and Connor as strained in the years since her divorce from Cruz. In a 2021 interview with Australia's Who magazine, she said of her adult children's choice to remain in the church, "They are adults. They are able to make their own decisions. They have made choices to be Scientologists, and, as a mother, it's my job to love them." She has rarely appeared publicly with either of them in recent years. Both were reported absent from her 2024 AFI Life Achievement Award ceremony, an event her daughters with ex-husband Keith Urban did attend. Some former Scientologists have made more pointed claims about this estrangement. In a 2019 interview, one former high-ranking member alleged that Isabella and Connor were, in her words, taught to view Kidman as a suppressive person following the divorce, a Scientology designation for someone considered antagonistic to the church. Cruz has never addressed these specific claims publicly, and they should be treated as one former member's account, rather than confirmed fact. The broader picture: a Cruz child who stayed close to her mother and distant from Scientology Suri, versus two who stayed close to the church and grew more distant from their non-Scientologist mother Isabella and Connor, has fueled ongoing public speculation that the church itself functions as the dividing line in how Cruz's children relate to their respective parents. That's a pattern observers and former members have pointed to, not something Cruz, Kidman, or Holmes has confirmed as a deliberate arrangement. After the divorce, Holmes and Suri settled into a Chelsea penthouse in New York City, largely out of the entertainment industry's glare. Cruz, under the divorce settlement, continued covering child support payments, widely reported at $400,000 annually, along with other expenses for Suri, but reporting has consistently described him as having no real day-to-day presence in decisions about her upbringing. Holmes has spoken in interviews, including with InStyle and Glamour, about feeling a renewed sense of freedom and creative independence in this period, and about wanting to protect her daughter's privacy, given how much of Suri's early life had already played out in public. She also rebuilt her own career on her own terms during these years, largely stepping back from the kind of tabloid-driven fame that defined her marriage to Cruz, and instead moving into writing, directing, and producing. She wrote, directed, and starred in the 2022 film Alone Together, and starred in 2023's Rare Objects, which she also produced. Suri contributed vocals to both projects, including a cover of Blue Moon in Alone Together. Holmes also returned to Broadway in 2024, after more than a decade away, starring as Mrs. Webb in a revival of Thornton Wilder's Our Town alongside Jim Parsons and Zoe Deutch. Directed by Kenny Leon, it marked her first Broadway role since 2012's Dead Accounts, and drew warm reviews. The production received a Tony nomination for Best Revival of a Play, and Holmes appeared at the 2025 Tony Awards to celebrate the show's run, which closed at the Barrymore Theatre in January 2025. Suri, meanwhile, attended LaGuardia High School of Music, Art and Performing Arts in New York, the same school that produced performers like Timothée Chalamet and Nicki Minaj. Katie has described their relationship in glowing terms in interviews, telling Glamour that having Suri involved in her creative projects was very meaningful to me because she's my heart, and expressing pride in comments to Town and Country around Suri's 2024 graduation in the independence her daughter was stepping into. Meanwhile, reporting from multiple outlets over the past several years, including Page Six and TMZ, has consistently described Cruz and Suri as estranged, with sourced claims that the two have had little to no public contact since roughly 2013, when Suri was about 7 years old. The last confirmed public sighting of father and daughter together dates to September 2013, a little over a year after the divorce was finalized. Cruz did not attend Suri's LaGuardia graduation in June 2024. He was photographed the same week at a Taylor Swift concert in London, reportedly mingling with stars including Hugh Grant, Ashton Kutcher, and Mila Kunis. That contrast between his public appearance and his daughter's absence from his side drew considerable media commentary at the time, though it's worth noting that a public absence isn't proof of the private state of their relationship. We don't have Cruz's or Suri's own account of why he wasn't there. By some tabloid accounts, Cruz's limited involvement has extended even to matters like Suri's finances. In December 2024, Holmes's representatives publicly denied reports claiming Suri had inherited a trust fund from her father, calling the story false. Whether or not such a fund exists, the fact that the denial was considered newsworthy at all reflects how closely the pair's finances and relationship continue to be scrutinized, even years after the divorce. By the time Suri turned 18 in April 2024, Cruz's court-ordered child support obligation ended, though he may continue to voluntarily contribute to costs like health insurance or college tuition, something outlets have speculated about but that neither side has confirmed on the record. In fall 2024, Suri enrolled at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, reportedly to study performing arts and design-related fields. It was around this time first spotted in her LaGuardia graduation program and later confirmed through Allegheny County, Pennsylvania voter registration records that she began using the name Suri Noel instead of Suri Cruz. Noel, sometimes reported as Noel, is Katie Holmes's middle name. Page 6, which broke the story in July 2026, reported that Pennsylvania law requires voters to register under their legal name, meaning the switch to Noel reflects a formal legal name change rather than just a stage or social name. The outlet also noted Suri doesn't appear to have filed the change in Allegheny County itself, suggesting it may have been done earlier, in New York, before she left for college. Neither Suri nor her parents have publicly commented on the decision. A source who spoke to Page 6 around the time of her graduation characterized the choice as a way for Suri to honor her mother, avoid paparazzi attention, and start fresh, heading into college and adulthood, though it's worth flagging that this is an anonymous source's characterization, not a statement from Suri herself. The timeline that's emerged from the various outlets that have covered this is worth laying out clearly, since it clarifies that this wasn't a sudden headline-chasing decision. June 2024, Suri graduates from LaGuardia High School. Her graduation program lists her as Suri Noel, rather than Suri Cruz, the first public sign of the change. Fall 2024. Suri begins her freshman year at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, reportedly pursuing fashion and performing arts. October 2024, voter registration records in Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, list her as Suri Noel under state law. A name used for voter registration must be a person's legal name, meaning the change had already been formalized by this point. July 2026, Page 6 is first to report publicly on the voter registration discovery, followed within days by TMZ, The Daily Beast, Yahoo, and other outlets. Notably, Page 6 also reported that no name change filing turned up in Allegheny County itself, suggesting Suri likely completed the legal process earlier, in New York, before relocating for college consistent with the LaGuardia graduation program, already reflecting the new name. Several entertainment outlets including OK Magazine and She Knows, both citing unnamed insiders, have reported at various points in 2025 and 2026